We're here on Cricbuzz Live, and it's the start of a long tour down under for Team India, starting with T20s, going on to 4 test matches and then the ODIs. But before we go any further and talk about the teams, the venues, I have to quickly share exactly how I'm feeling at this moment. You know, there are times in any form of cricket where you have an intruder who comes into the middle of the pitch and he kind of sidles up to one of the players and says, "Hi, can I have your autograph or take a picture?" Which is not really done. But that's exactly how I feel, because the 2 guests in my studio, from my memory, are 2 men I remember going out to open the batting for India down under in Australia, doing it with great success. And here I am, a kebab mein haddi in between. But nonetheless, 2 great gentlemen, people I've worked with before, seen them off the field and on the field. Big welcome to Aakash Chopra and Virender Sehwag.
Thank you, Gautam.
Now that I've said it, am I like a bit of an intruder here? Because with an opening pair like this, you're wondering, ye teesra banda kaun aa gaya?
Not at all, not at all. You're always welcome, Gautam. And in fact, I also felt like an outsider in a party that was organized by and for Virender Sehwag. I was just a spectator at the other end while the fireworks were going on at the other end. So that is, though I still feel that I had the best seat in the box in the house, but then it was Viru who was doing all the talking, or his bat rather.
No, but I still remember that that Melbourne test, first half an hour. So I got 2 on my helmet, and Aakash Chopra after that got on his helmet, and he was saying that, okay, I'm feeling a little dizziness. So I was asking him, why not you go back? I said, no, if I'll go back, then maybe I will not come back again. So he stays there, and we had a lovely partnership at Melbourne. So I think thanks to Aakash Chopra, and after that dizziness, he stayed there. So I still remember that Andrew Leapers came out with the ice pack and putting on Aakash Chopra.
And you know what he asked? And you know what he asked? He said, okay, what's the date today? I said 26 December. What's that day today? It was Thursday, Boxing Day test match. And where are we? It's in Melbourne. You can bat. Go.
Well, he let you off with some easy questions, but that's the kind of stories we're expecting to get out of these 2 gentlemen. We'll come back to that. We'll revisit their wonderful times, not just Boxing Day, but that entire series down under in 2003-04. For now, let's live in the present. Let's talk about the big T20 international we've got coming up. India versus Australia. The toss, of course, has been won by Virat Kohli. He's decided to field first. Fairly predictable decision. You want, as he said, you want to get the 11 out in the park for the first time in the series.
Absolutely, because anybody who's playing first game at Brisbane, Gabba, so you love to field first because the wicket is so hard and there's a live grass on the wicket. So they want to chase because whatever happen, I think happen in first half of the game. So whatever help is there for the fast bowlers, I think is in the first half, and second half will become a good to bat on.
Well, there's other side to the story as well. Generally, you want to do second whatever is your strength. So in this team, while we are a batting nation and we tend to revere batting a lot more, I feel our bowling is our strength. When you look at the bowling unit, you think that even if you've got 140 on the board, you will be able to defend. So therefore, I'm sure if there was no rain about, if there was lesser grass on the pitch and no surface moisture, then India may have thought slightly differently, but with this, with the current conditions, the prevailing conditions, I think that's what has dictated that win the toss, bowl first, and try and dismiss the Aussies cheaply, because all said and done, batting may get easier, but they do have a fairly decent bowling lineup.
But if you look at the Australian batting lineup, it's not that strong.
Correct.
Also. So it's good to bowl first also. Aakash rightly said that India's strength is bowling, because our batting is dependent only on 3 players. Shikhar Dhawan, Rohit Sharma and Virat Kohli. So if you look at other 4 batsmen, so they are I think travelling first time, or maybe KL Rahul been there, and rest of the guys are travelling.
Let's just confirm the playing 11. The big talking point would be who was going to be left out, and it is Yuzvendra Chahal who has to make way. In the last few ODIs and T20 internationals that India have played, he's missed out 5 of them of late, and it's almost, what's he done wrong? But it's just,
I think he's done nothing wrong. Yeah, carry on.
Same thing happened with Ashwin and Jadeja when they were playing together and they were not taking wickets or replaced by Yuzvendra Chahal and Kuldeep Yadav. So nobody was giving answer that why they are not playing Ashwin and Jadeja. They said that they gave rest to them. But here, I think Yuzvendra Chahal is your best bowler in T20s. And I don't know why he's not playing. So that's a big concern for me.
I think team selection, generally when you're picking the 11, it's more about balance and less about justice. So if you go by just justice and try to justify things, Chahal will walk in. There is no doubt about it. But then Kuldeep, with that mystery that he brings to the table, left arm, a Chinaman bowler, if you haven't played him before, there are good chances that you will struggle picking him off the hand. Sometimes you try and read it off the pitch, it's quite difficult. And Krunal Pandya is indispensable. Believe it or not, he's played only a couple of matches for India thus far, but he's indispensable for a simple reason that you want somebody who can bat at number 7. And in this entire team, the entire squad, you have only one guy who can do that. There's nobody else who can actually walk in at that number. So your hands are pretty much tied. There will always be the case, either Kuldeep or Chahal. Current flavor of the month is Kuldeep, so he'll continue to play till he fails.
But I love the quote from him. What was it about balance and justice?
So team selection is about balance and not about justice.
But I thought, when you think of justice and you think of the scales, I thought justice is supposed to be about balance.
It is, unfortunately. In team selection, it is not. It's only about balance.
But we saw in England, we saw the moment you gave Kuldeep a slight whiff, a slight chance, and he took his 5 firsts, both in the ODIs and in the T20s.
Yeah, he's very good. And these Yuzvendra Chahal and Kuldeep Yadav, they are very good as a pair. Like, I still remember Harbhajan Singh and Kumble. When they were bowling together, they were different. So I think now they will miss Yuzvendra Chahal in this. In Australia, I don't mind picking up Kuldeep Yadav, but you need a leg spinner who can give troubles to the batsman. So because Kuldeep is a little slower and Chahal is a little quicker in the air, so that's the difference between Kuldeep and Chahal. So that's why they are very successful. I don't know about Krunal Pandya, so how he will do. I'm sure that he will do well, but he is first over. But I think Chahal is Indian team going to miss him.
And of course, they don't have someone like a Virender Sehwag to come on with a part-time off-spin.
That's a huge concern. Actually, we've actually not addressed that elephant in the room. It has been there for a while. So one of your top 6, if not 2, should be able to roll their arm over. So we used to have Viru. We had Sachin Tendulkar as well, who would come and bowl a few overs. In this, Saurav would actually, if conditions are to his liking, then he'll give you a few overs. In this team, even in this T20 setup, and I kid you not, you look at all IPL teams, he has been involved with quite a few in the past. No IPL team walks onto the field with only 5 bowling options. This Indian team is walking with only 5 bowling options. So you know that there is a problem of sorts. So last 5 names, the top 6, none of them can actually bowl, or rather bowl. So Virat Kohli is perhaps your closest pick who can actually give you a couple of overs, hopefully not. But then the rest 5, only 5 bowlers, 6 batsmen. That's not exactly how you should prepare, plan and strategize when you're playing T20 cricket. At least have 6 bowlers, if not 7. Sometimes people have bad days.
I think Rohit Sharma used to bowl, but after his shoulder surgery, he stopped bowling his off spins. And he got hat-trick in IPL.
But that's
maybe it was after marriage. Was it after?
Not after marriage, but I'm sure after shoulder surgery, I think.
But tell me, as a part-time bowler, did you enjoy bowling? I mean, if you were captaining the side, would you give yourself that extra few overs, or would you rather have someone come up to you and say, "Here you go"?
Yes, as a kid, I loved to bowl. When I was playing under 19, I used to bowl 30 over in a day, in 4-day matches. And when I played for first-class cricket, I was bowling a lot, 25 over, 20 over in a day. So I love to bowl. Yes, if I was captain, so maybe I was close to 200 or 300 test wickets.
See, he was not a part-time bowler, by the way. He started Gautam as a proper bowler. In fact, bowler who would bat at number 6 or 7. Somebody who would hit 6s, but then you could actually bank on him with regards to bowling 10 overs in an ODI game, or rather list A game, quite a number of overs in the longer format, under 19s and all. He's had a fantastic action. The great bowling, the body action that we talk about, using from your legs to hips to shoulder and all of that. But then part-timers are like Kedar Jadhav. Kedar is a proper part-timer, not Viru. Viru was much better.
That's a discussion for another day, because it's, to me, as a spectator, as a student of the game, it's still a mystery to me how someone can bowl from here and not from up here. But we'll discuss that another time. Let's talk about someone who's actually standing behind and watching all these guys come and bowl. Another sort of a mini mystery within the Indian team, the fight between Rishabh Pant and Dinesh Karthik. Now, Rishabh Pant is sort of listed as the official wicketkeeper. Yet, the last few occasions when they walked out, who gets the gloves? DK.
I'm glad that it has changed because Rishabh Pant, if we were to compare the two with regards to their fielding abilities, Dinesh Karthik will beat him hands down. He is a better fielder, so ideally he should be fielding. It was Rishabh Pant who was fielding against the West Indies and was dropping catches, was not affecting runouts, and you knew that kid is actually struggling. He's not used to fielding 70 meters away from the pitch. So he's at the right place, and also keeping in mind that he'll be keeping in test matches as well. So if he's your designated keeper, he should be keeping all the time. Dinesh Karthik has to play as a batsman and a fielder, though I also feel that Pant is not pipping him to the post. If there is a possibility of an Ambati Rayudu or a Kedar Jadhav or even a Hardik Pandya, there is a possibility that you might feel or might find that Dinesh Karthik is making way for somebody else very soon.
I think that selector should speak to the team management, because if they picked Rishabh Pant as a wicket keeper, they should pass this message to team management. Boss, we gave you Rishabh Pant as a wicket keeper and he should do the keeping. So I don't know what's happening in the dressing room, so who's talking and who's saying what. So if you'll get to know that, please let us know.
I like that. I mean, I'm sure if he knew something in the dressing room, he might not let it out. But let's look at their batting numbers since 2017 between Rishabh Pant and Dinesh Karthik in T20 internationals. And you can see there, in terms of average and strike rate, Dinesh Karthik very much can walk in there as a batsman.
D is for Don, is it? He's averaging 100. He's averaging 100 because he doesn't get out. Out of those 11 innings, he's been unbeaten 9 times. He's never been dismissed in a run chase, albeit those run chases haven't been 180, 200 plus. So he's gone in a situation where he needs a little lower runner ball. He hasn't really finished the games the way you expect a finisher to do, except that Needhas Trophy final where he actually hit a 6 off the last ball to win India the game. Other than that, he's not been asked to perform the job of a finisher as such, purely because Indian bowling has been
once
too
against
good.
the West Indies, it wasn't the stylish run chase, so we don't remember
again.
it.
120.
But he had to. Someone had to buckle down.
Correct. So he's a proper batsman. He's a proper batsman. But when you talk about a finisher in my book, a finisher is someone like a Yuvraj Singh, a Mahendra Singh Dhoni, even a Hardik Pandya, who will actually go hammer and tongs. Is Dinesh Karthik that guy? He's a more proper batsman. He's more like a number 4, number 5 rather than a number 6 or number 7. That's my opinion on Dinesh. We shall find out how he does in these games, and then of course the ODIs. Oh, ODIs, he's not there. He doesn't get picked now
Yeah,
in ODIs.
absolutely. And Aakash, he played only 11 games. So he played less number of games. He got 9 innings out of that, and out of 9 innings, maybe he got out only once or twice. So that's why his average is high. But I still love Dinesh Karthik as a batsman, not as a wicketkeeper.
Yeah, I mean, especially as we said, the real reason being, if you've got a designated keeper in the longest form of the game, I mean, there's no better practice in that sense than a lead up to it.
It's quite funny though. You know what?
Yeah.
In England, Dinesh Karthik was your designated keeper for test matches. Rishabh Pant was your substitute, somebody who may just walk in. After 2 test matches, Dinesh Karthik has been shown the door. Parthiv Patel is now your second wicket keeper, and Rishabh Pant suddenly has become your first wicket keeper. So there's a lot of chopping, changing happening. Some is understandable. Some is difficult to fathom, and Dinesh Karthik, the way he's been handled, this whole wicket-keeping saga, why Parthiv Patel comes in, then why he gets dropped after 2 games in South Africa, why he's picked again in Australia when you know that he dropped catches in Australia or rather in South Africa. Where does Rishabh Pant fit into all of this? Because he got picked to play test matches by doing well in the IPL and one days. I mean, it's just not adding up, but then that's been the case with wicket keepers off late.
Yeah, we're going to go talk about a lot of justice, a lot of balance. But here on Cricbuzz Live, we like to keep the balance. We've talked a lot about Team India. Let's not forget, this match is about 2 teams. All matches are about 2 teams, essentially. And what about the home side, the Australians? They've just recently played a T20, which turned into a T10 game against South Africa. So that's been their very latest preparation. And in this particular game, they, unlike India, have brought in their best leg spinner. Adam Zampa comes into the 11. He wasn't playing that last game, and I think he will really boost that particular chance, though India play leg spin a lot better than they do.
Okay.
Ben McDermott is someone who just struggled a little bit in the middle order, Craig McDermott's son, so he'll want to prove himself in this particular game. And at the top of the order, on paper, Darcy Short, Finch, Lynn, Maxwell and Stoinis looks good. But Darcy Short's been a bit of a disappointment.
He's been off late. In fact, not off late. He's been rated very, very highly. but hasn't really performed as such. But then all it takes at times, because the kind of player that he has, the temperament that he has, the game or the brand of cricket that he plays, he needs one good T20 innings to just get back on course. Unfortunately for him, not for India, that there'll be Bhuvi Bumrah at the other end, so that's unlikely to happen anytime soon. But when you look at this batting lineup, you do know that they have match winners. They have people who can take the game away, snatch the game away. But personally, I wouldn't have actually gone to Adam Zampa, personally, just my personal opinion, because Zampa against India is half the bowler. I would have played Nathan Coulter-Nile, play your 4-5 fast bowlers, let Glenn Maxwell roll his arm over and give you a couple of overs if you need a bit of spin. Otherwise, play pace and see how it actually pans out in the end.
And this is the best wicket to play pace,
Exactly.
pace
Gabba.
bowlers, Gabba. So even we've seen in test matches, Australia played with all the fast bowlers. So and you see that little green grass on the wicket, so it will help the fast bowlers. So I think whenever India goes there and any spinners play, so we'll look forward to play against the spinner rather than playing against the fast bowlers.
Maybe the thinking was, if you saw that last game that I referred to, both Coulter-Nile and Virender were taken to the cleaners by the South African openers. The moment they turned to the slower bowlers, they actually came back into the game.
They were playing against South Africa.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
So because their batting lineup is such like that they can play cut and pull shots. But if you look at the Indian team, there is only 2 or 3 players who can play well against short pitch bowlers.
See, in any case, this Indian batting lineup is all about top 3. You've got 2 openers, Dhawan and Rohit, and then Virat Kohli. The moment you somehow find a way to go past the top 3, you have a real opportunity. KL Rahul has been blowing hot, blowing cold off late. He is not on top of his game, is what we have seen. Rishabh Pant has not even been tried that much, so you don't really know what you're getting from him. Dinesh Karthik, yes, promising, yes, potential, yes, performance, but then he's the only cog in, or rather an experienced cog in that middle order. And then you have Krunal Pandya, who's never played in Australia. So you do know that there are problems, but what would a Krunal Pandya prefer, or a Dinesh Karthik, or a Rishabh Pant, a leg spinner, or Nathan Coulter-Nile? Regardless of what has happened in the past, I would have gone with Nathan Coulter-Nile.
Fair enough. We shall only see. Time will tell. But coming back to someone like Darcy Short, he personally reminds me of a young, raw David Warner when he first came into the Australian side. He had played hardly any first-class cricket. He was just this left-hander from the village who was just given the license to throw his bat. Now, the reason why I bring up David Warner is not to talk anymore about Darcy Short. It's just how much Australia are missing him, Smith, and the big debate, should they have actually relented and said, okay, big series, they've served their time. You know, even people who go to prison for good behavior, all right, you've done your time.
Forget the series. You know, all this talk is around the series, and therefore this decision in the end, because all this has happened, what people will say, what will they think? Because firstly, the punishment handed out was not in line with their offense. It's like somebody has been caught pickpocketing and you send him for a life sentence. You don't do that. Tampering the ball that was not even tampered. It wasn't tampered with because the ball wasn't changed. 5 penalty runs were not awarded. So that tells you that the condition of the ball was not changed by the players involved. And then there is an ICC code of conduct. There is a rule for it. There is a law for it. You get banned. But for a game, Dinesh Chandimal got banned after all this happened, that sandpaper gate. But Australia went ahead and just to tell the world, you know, this is what we stand for. Come on, 2 wrongs will never make a right. If I had it in my control, I would have changed it, because the people who handed them the ban, all of them have already left. They've already been shown the door. So why let the poor cricketers suffer? I think that punishment is not in line with what they did.
Let me get Sehwag again.
I agree with Aakash, but I think maybe that Australian Cricket Board had an internal inquiry, and from that they got to know that, you know, they actually planned that, and because of that, I think they banned David Warner and Steve Smith.
But
I think.
Tell me something.
No, Aakash, I agree with you. I'm not saying that,
I'm just
but I'm saying that
planning bit.
I'm saying that because of that, and their Prime Minister was involved in that. So the Prime Minister sent a message to Australian Cricket Board that you have to take a strong stand here. So you have to ban them. So I think because of that, so they ban these 2 people, but they should not.
Even the Prime Minister has lost his vote of confidence.
Yeah,
so even he's not there, like in terms there. And what I said is like about planning, because a lot of people are saying, oh, it was a conspiracy because it was planned. Which ball tampering incident happens without planning? Who does
Only
not?
once. Shahid Afridi when he
actually bit the ball.
Yeah, he bit the ball.
Otherwise, all of us have done that. We always have, like, if we know that we have to work on the ball, we will have some mint in our pockets. And people know. Bowlers also know. Everybody knows that, you know, we are trying to help them. and it is well within the rules. I'm not saying use the sandpaper or any other means, but having mint in the mouth, if you drop it on the ball, it's an offense. If you keep it in the mouth, it's fine.
Yeah.
So it's that kind of a grey line. I feel that they've been very hard done by these three cricketers. They should be playing now.
And do you really think it was about sending a message to the world and they're suffering as a result? And it's been so long. I mean, I can imagine saying that, okay, for one series or a month or 2 months, even if the ICC were involved, that's the kind of ban they would give.
One match ban is what you get.
Exactly.
I think it's ICC job, ICC match referee's job to, they look after the game and they will take the decision that, okay, if somebody did a mistake or somebody did abuse somebody or somebody is tempering the ball, so what ban they should get. And I think match referee banned them for only one game. So Australia can do that, maybe ban them for 5 test matches. 5 test matches.
5 test matches. What?
So
And imagine the kind of
Yep.
revenue loss these guys have already suffered. They've let go of IPL contracts. They've not played the cricket. They've been away from international cricket. I think conspiracy
very
theory.
harsh.
Conspiracy theory. Has it got anything to do with the players demanding a bit more money? I don't know.
Okay.
Just a thought.
It's just
Just
thrown
a
it out
thought.
there.
It's
It's Virender Sehwag who used to bowl a bit of off spin like that, but Aakash Chopra has thrown one out
Dusra.
there. Yeah, Dusra. He's thrown in the Dusra. Maybe he wanted to bowl a little more than he actually ended up
That was
bowling.
very bad.
Very bad?
Very bad.
What did you bowl?
He bowled leg spin.
So I started as a leg spinner, then bowled a little bit of medium pace, ended up as an off spinner. It was appalling at all three.
Too many things. You were trying too many things.
But he tried everything in the nets.
Correct. I
But
gave my best.
Focused on his batting, and I said the Australian batting is suffering at the moment. The last time you remember Australia's bowling suffering was in 2003-2004, because every time in that test series when India's opening pair, and they're sitting right here next to me, when they would walk out to bat, they would get 50 plus and set India on the right track, and that's why it was one of the great series. If you saw, it started at a rain-affected Gabba where Sourav Ganguly ended up getting 141. That was a drawn test match. Then came the Adelaide Oval, which was a very key opening partnership that set India away to 500 plus, and even the second innings, because it was a run chase that could have gone wrong, 270 plus. And then, of course, what we just talked about, Boxing Day, 141 at the MCG on Boxing Day, a packed Boxing Day, and India scoring, what, 375?
On the first day itself.
On the first day itself.
When he actually got dismissed in the end, trying to hit one more out of the park. But then, even in that test match, we should have done a little better is what we all felt at that time. Had the last 6 wickets did not fall the way they did. Second morning, we just lost that one session. And that was the thing about this Australian team. You lose a session, you lose a game.
But obviously, I mean, we talk about the technique, we talk about the temperament. There's something about a chemistry of an opening pair. Now, obviously, going back to your Delhi days, did a bit of that chemistry help every time you walked out to bat?
I think that was our first tour
Correct.
to Australia, and first time me and Aakash batted as a opening pair, because for Ranji Trophy I think
He never opened, I never
with
batted in the
Aakash.
middle.
Aakash, so that was the first time I think. But before that we played against New Zealand also.
Correct.
But we had a very good understanding while running between the wickets. So we thought that it's difficult to hit boundaries here in Australia because of big grounds. So we can rotate the strike on regular basis, and that's what we did. And we hardly calls. So the moment he tapped the ball, so I was ready to, and the moment I was tapping the ball, so he was ready to take that single.
was
But
very,
you didn't
very
call
cheeky.
because you used to sing.
Yeah, I was singing, so that's why I was looking at the Aakash, so I can sing the song and look at him and run it. So we had a very good as an opening pair in Australia, very good series, but we were only very good in first innings, not in not in second innings.
Yeah, there was just one 48 score in Adelaide, which was actually, I thought, a little handy, as you rightly mentioned, but he was very cheeky when it came to running between the wickets. So the kind of runs that we stole, it was unthinkable that the ball, you've just played the ball towards gully, the gully fielder has picked it up and thrown it to the point fielder, the ball is still in play, and we ran. And I was like, what did just happen? And it actually ran them ragged, and then of course he was hitting boundaries. So see, once you start getting those singles, field starts converging, they come closer to you, and then the gaps also open up a lot more, and when he is on song, life is easier.
But you were a perfect foil for each other.
It took 3 test matches for Australia to understand what we are doing.
Correct.
So what we were doing. So 4th test match, what Sehwag did, that he was standing on the 10 yard at the point. So we can't take single that tap and run. So I think it took them 6 innings to realized that these guys are running hard, so we have to stop their singles.
But Steve Waugh, of course, had different things on his mind. That was his last test match.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it was just, it was just, as I said, it was that chemistry. Did you ever have to go up to him, like Sachin famously said in Pakistan, and curb him ever? Don't try and hit a 6 to get 100 or a 200 or a 300.
Not at all, not at all. See,
it was other way around. I was telling him that you make sure that you can score 100 so that you can play longer.
correct.
So that new guy who I opened with Wasim Jafar, SS Das, Sanjay Bangar, and he was the fourth or maybe fifth one. So I was telling him that I'm the guy who's stay here, but new guy comes here and he don't score like 50s, 60s, 40s and don't score 100, then they keep changing that my partner. So I was telling him he score against Pakistan 50, I think New Zealand. So convert these 50s into 100 so you can play longer. So same thing I told, I think, Wasim Jafar also.
Yeah, there you go. That's the insights that you're getting from such a successful pair, and it's a very appropriate pair that we should be starting this long India-Australia tour, starting of course with T20 internationals, going on to 4 test matches and 1-day internationals. We're also going to have another guest in the studio, but for the moment he's always there to contribute with a bit of a brain teaser. This is our joy factor. And here we go. It has to be something relevant, so he's talking about the Gabba. Gabba has seen some of the finest in the world perform, from the Don, we mentioned the Don recently, Don and Sobers to Warren and Tendulkar. But which sportsman who was worth over $80 million a few years later played 4 matches on this ground in the year 2000? And when it comes to joy factor, there's going to be a bit of a teaser to it, a bit of a googly, just like Aakash Chopra tried to bowl a few minutes ago. Give us the answers. Hashtag Cricbuzz Live is what we want, and try and give us a little extra with the answer.
Is it even a cricketer? I'm just asking. I don't know the answer. I'm just once again throwing it up there for people to ponder over. Maybe.
Yeah, this time
I don't know the
this
answer.
time he was showing how he plays the googly, how he plays it out. Get that quick single.
And let Viru do the talking.
All right, so just one final factor that remains. We've got the joy factor out of the way. Looking at a possible score, and right now we're talking about a prediction, not what India would want. They'd want Australia out for 80 probably in 20 overs. But what's the prediction? What do you think on this hard Gabba wicket? India have put them in.
Even if it's hard, Gabba pitch and all of that, it's still their home ground. We tend to overestimate the importance of a lot of other factors without really realizing that when we play at Rajkot, we know Rajkot. So similarly, when they play at Gabba, they are familiar with those conditions. For us, it's alien. For us, it's green and damp and all of that. They are used to it. So I'm expecting about, say, 160, 165 bigger grounds. So don't expect 180, 200 unless Chris Lynn just goes on a rampage, or Glenn Maxwell has one of those days. 160, 165 is my good guess.
150, 160.
Okay, so 150, 160. That's what I was kind of heading for. So I think I'm going to go a little bit lower. I'm going to go with Kuldeep Yadav getting in his mystery, and of course Krunal Pandey also doing a little bit of damage. So they'll have a good start, but I'm going to go 140 for Australia. So a relatively simple run chase for India. Just had to be a little bit different. We're going to see you in the mid-innings break, but before that, Cricbuzz Combox will be back to see how things are going at the halfway mark in this innings. Lots more to come from Virender, Sehwag and Aakash Chopra and myself, Gautam Bhimani.